Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham, Oregon. I'm happy to have with me tonight Marissa Moon, who is with the Children's Relief Nursery. Thanks for being here, Marissa.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you wear several hats at the Children's Relief Nursery, is that right?
I do.
So I know that you're a child and family therapist.
I am.
And you do some other things too. And I want to hear about the range of things that you are doing there. But first, can you give me just a little bit of background on the Children's Relief Nursery? Tell our viewers exactly what it is that you do there.
Absolutely. So we are a nonprofit, and we have been working in North Portland in the St. John's community for just over 11 years now. And we have a really beautiful site over on North Lombard. And what we do is we partner with families to prevent and intervene for children to prevent child abuse and neglect. So the way that we do that is we work with families and do case management that's in the home, and then we have several other services that we can chat about as well.
So are the people that you work with, are they referred to you, or do they come self-referred? How does that work?
Both, actually. So a lot of our families, especially in North Portland, because we've been there for so long, will refer themselves, or a friend or peer will refer them to us. But otherwise, we do get a lot of referrals from community health nurses, and then from the Department of Human Services, both child welfare and the self-sufficiency offices, and then various other community partners that we have in there.
And I bet you have a lot of them.
We sure do.
Yeah.
We sure do.
So when you say you're preventing child abuse, are these people, probably some of them there have been instances of abuse in the home, but maybe some of them are where it could happen, like a potential for it?
Right.
How do you judge that kind of thing?
So the way that we work is that after a referral has been made to us, or a family refers themselves, is that we would do an intake with a clinician. And so I'm one of those clinicians, and we have other folks that work on staff. And we talk to families about what are risk factors for child abuse and neglect. And so we have several risk factors that families might be experiencing at any given time. And that is how we measure if we're preventing child abuse and neglect, is if we can reduce those risk factors for families when we're working with them.
Risk factors being things like stresses in the family, such as people going through divorces and unemployment and poverty, that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
What about a history of it in a family? Is that considered a risk factor?
Absolutely. So a lot of the risk factors that we see at the Children's Relief Nursery include domestic violence or exposure to violence. It may be that they are living in poverty or don't have stable housing. It may be that the parent has multiple children and their patience can only go so far.
And that's, and some of those things are very understandable.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't make it acceptable.
Well, and it's the compounding of all of them put together that makes it, for a family, would be at risk for child abuse and neglect. And so what we're really trying to do is prevent, and if it's happened, prevent further incidences of the abuse and neglect.
So by preventing, I assume that's not just intervening, it's teaching those people some skills in order to cope with that?
Yeah, so when families come to us and are referred to us, we do that intake, and then all families that work with us receive a case manager. And so the case manager then goes out into the home and does what we call home visiting, and identifies with the family what are their goals. So family goals vary hugely between people. So they might be something like creating bedtime routines, because that's a real stressor in the home, or finding affordable housing, or how to enjoy time with your child again and how to be on the floor and play. So it really varies from family to family. So once that's happened, then we can identify where further services might be needed.
I like that you go at it from the angle of what are your goals as a family, rather than this is what you need to do.
Absolutely. We partner with people rather than telling people what needs to happen.
Do you find, tell me, do you find a lot of success, or is it? Can you give me an instance, obviously without saying any names, of some family that you've worked with that you felt has really benefited?
I think one of the ways that we start to see success is a little bit different than other people would. It's when families start to notice the good things that their children are doing. When families start to prevent behaviors by implementing ideas that we've had together. So I can think of families that now will say to us that they have been in places before where they were really stressed out during certain times of the day or during certain
grocery shopping with your children.
Grocery shopping is hard.
It's very hard.
And one of the things that they share with us is we do it differently now and it works better. And those are, you can see it with families and you can see them growing in their attachment, which is the core foundation of what we do is attachment work between parents and their children. That's
wonderful. I remember watching a little video from Children's Relief Nursery about with a young woman who just didn't know how to bond really with her child, and she had to learn that. And I think she didn't. Her family situation was such that there wasn't a lot of bonding with her parents, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something you think of as what you would think would be second nature isn't second nature for everyone, depending on their circumstances or the way they've been brought up, or just the life that they live.
The other things that are getting in the way of parenting.
Yeah. And it's not easy being a parent.
It really isn't. And
rewarding,
that is one
but
of the
not
biggest
easy.
Stressors.
Yeah.
So the ways that another thing that we do is when the case manager has built a relationship with the family, we start to identify what that family needs in order to reduce their risk factors and to continue to prevent abuse and neglect and to enhance their protective factors, because everybody has protective factors for their children.
What do you mean by protective factors?
Ways that they can protect their child. So it might be that they start to build a community of peers that they can call when they're getting stressed out.
Oh, okay.
It just varies from family to family, but everybody has within them some protective factors, and really what we want to do is build those up and bring down the risk factors. So some of the ways that we do that is if a child needs extra help in their social emotional learning, we have a therapeutic classroom. And by therapeutic, we don't mean that we're doing mental health work with children in the classroom, but although that does happen, what we are doing is we're working on social emotional development rather than ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. That certainly comes with everything that we do. But really what we're looking at is how to help children to be in a space with each other and how to negotiate when they both want the same toy or when they have really big feelings about something that's happening. How can they get past those in order to be successful in a classroom? Because it's hard to sit still and learn when you're 5 and in school if you don't have those skills.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, there are some kids that learn that, maybe have a preschool setting or a babysitter setting where there's somebody who has the time and patience and the skills to teach kids that. Not everybody has that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we work really hard at having low ratios. So one of the ways that we do that is we have this amazing volunteer coordinator that gives us volunteers in our classrooms. And it helps us to make it so that the children can get the individual attention that they need, and that will help them to be successful and to move out of our program. So we actually only work in early childhood. At our North site, we work with children from birth to 4, and at our East County site, we're working with children from birth to 3.
Okay, now you had said this was located in North Portland, but now you have an East Portland site also. So where is that located? I mean,
we're on 122nd between Stark and Division.
Okay.
We're actually in the Department of Human Services building where self-sufficiency happens and the jobs program happens. We're right there.
Good. And you are located at that.
I am personally at that location. I'm the supervisor out on site, and then I also do various other jobs.
Well, that's what I was saying. You wore many hats. So you're the child and family therapist, you're the supervisor, site supervisor, and what else do you do there?
I also do the respite program, which is another part of our core foundation of what we do. So respite is used for families that need a break.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
It's respite from each other. Yes. Everybody needs a break. So we offer respite to families based on if the mom maybe would need to go to a mental health appointment or to a drug and alcohol appointment, or if they need to go grocery shopping without having their children with them and they need to do a little self-care. Those are the kind of opportunities that respite requires. So we tend to have a mixed age group in respite. So we have children from, in East County, we have children from 6 weeks all the way up to 4.
So is this a drop-off? The kids are dropped off at your location?
Yep, for 3 hours in the morning.
Okay.
So, and they arrange that through their case manager who they already have a relationship with. And it's a wonderful service because parents are able to say goodbye and come back, and we can really build on that attachment of mommy's come back, and it's okay to be away from each other.
And mommy knows that those kids are in a safe place where they're being cared for.
Exactly.
That's kind of a scary thing too, is trying to find somebody to watch your kids just trying to find somebody to watch your kids, period, but
Right.
find somebody that you can trust.
Absolutely. And so it's not the same type of intervention that our therapeutic classroom is. It's less frequent, but what we do is we also use it as a sort of monitoring stage where we can see if children require more needs, if have higher needs and need to go into our therapeutic classroom. So we use it for lots of different reasons.
Good, good. Now, you're a nonprofit, so how are you funded? Do you have funding, from like the state or the county and that kind of thing, and then also donations? How does that work?
We do, and we actually get our funding from lots of different places. Most of them is from foundations, and a lot of our funding comes from in-kind donations from families and from people in the community that drop off things like clothes.
Oh, really?
Or drop off things like their toys that their children are no longer using. So we offer, as part of a relief nursery, we offer a clothes closet to supplement children's clothing, because clothing is so expensive and children grow so fast.
Yes, they do.
So we offer that as part of it.
If I, living fairly, close to the one location and working out closer to the other one, had some clothing, or the stuff I've had in my attic that belonged to my children, or toys or something like that, I could drop them off there. And
yeah, we ask for gently used items and
condition, yes, clean, yes,
and clean, and we pass them on to families either through home visits or we use them in the classroom because we tend to get messy in the classroom by doing messy art or sensory-based activities, and so we always send children home in clean and dry clothing. So
I think that's a smart move.
I do too.
What about you have some fundraisers?
We do. Our annual fundraiser is actually coming up. It's on It's on April 20th, on Friday, April 20th. It's our Iron Chef event, and it's pretty exciting. It's at 6 o'clock.
Now that's at the Portland Art Museum, right?
It is. It is.
Now I meant to bring that paper and I forgot it, but I was reading about that. I know that there's 2 chefs that are competing, right? And one is the gentleman from the chef from the Country Cat.
That's true.
Which is a really good restaurant.
It is really fantastic.
And then Acadia, which it is kind of over by me, and I've been wanting to try that one. It's supposed to be really, really good. It's
wonderful.
So that'll be fun.
It is really fun. It's just like the television show Iron Chef, where they get ingredients and they have to create these meals from it, and then they're judged based on what they can create during that time.
So that's at the Portland Art Museum, April 20th. So if people are interested in getting tickets or finding out more about it, they can go to your website.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. There are still some tickets available, but they're going fast, so people need to go quickly.
Okay, good. Well, I hope it's a big success. Now, this also, I understand, is Child Abuse Prevention Month.
It is.
What exactly does that mean? How do you honor that, or I don't know, we celebrate it, but how do you recognize that, I guess?
We recognize that by just bringing it to the limelight and coming on shows like this and talking about it with families, because it's really exciting that there is something that we can all talk about together and not have it as a hidden secret.
Like it used to be.
Like it used to be, absolutely. So we honor it because it's the work that we do every single day. For us, it's a year-long kind of process, but we definitely are talking about it even more with the families and the community to really shine a light on the good work that we are doing and the good, incredible work that the families that we're working with are doing.
I bet. I like the prevention aspect of it. That you're not only working with people who maybe have already fallen into that pattern of abuse, but you're trying to prevent it ahead of time. If I were to know somebody that I thought could benefit from the Children's Relief Nursery, which is a great name, by the way, because it kind of, I don't know.
Flows.
It does. What would I do? Could I tell them about it and just tell them to call?
Yeah, or you can send a referral to us as well.
You can do it that way.
You can do it either way.
Just a gentle, note that this person maybe could benefit from a little bit of help.
Most often folks will call with somebody or will send us a referral, but they usually have spoken to the family that they're going to make that referral.
And then respectful.
Absolutely. And then the clinician would give them a call and talk about if it's something that they would be interested in doing. We're a voluntary program, so we don't force people to work with us.
It's not court mandated or anything like that.
No, sometimes we are included in safety plans and things like that, but it's not a mandated program. We are voluntary. We want to work with folks that are wanting to work with us and do so well.
Can you use more volunteers?
We could always use more volunteers. We use volunteers in the classroom to support the children during their development and during their playtime. We also use volunteers to do events like Iron Chef. I think it's almost totally run by volunteers.
I bet it is, yeah, good.
And then we also use volunteers for office things. We tend to do making a lot of items and things for the classrooms because we like to make our own materials as much as we can. And so we incorporate volunteers in every aspect of our work.
Well, we're out of time, Marissa, so thank you so much. I learned a lot, and you're doing terrific work there, so keep it up, and I hope you have a great turnout at the Iron Chef, and thanks so much for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching this segment of Community Hotline. We'll be right back in just a few minutes, so please don't go away. And if you'd like more information about the Children's Relief Nursery, their website is on your screen, so be sure to check it out.
Are the cornerstone of local communities, and they enjoy the satisfaction that comes from being part of something larger than themselves. Multnomah County invites citizens to participate in projects that benefit the greater good of our residents.
No matter where your interests lay, there is a volunteer opportunity for you. From helping families through hard times, to working on a citizen advisory board, to making your neighborhood the place you want to live. The opportunities are endless.
Through offering your time and talents, you can help provide programs and services that benefit all of us. You have the potential to make Multnomah County a better place to work, play, and live.
Volunteering builds skills, provides insight into professions, and engages people in important actions. It shapes both you and your community. Plus, volunteering is fun.
To get involved, contact the Office of Citizen Involvement. Go to citizenweb.org. Shape your community. Volunteer.
Hi, I'm Luke Perry. You're watching MetroEast. Over 25 years of great community media.
Alone, our reach is limited. No matter how great our intentions, on our own, we can only stretch so far. But at Rotary, we believe the right group of people working together can make our communities, our world, a better place. Rotary, humanity in motion.
¿Están listos?
Free GED classes.
Are you ready? Clases gratis de inglés.
Yo estoy lista.
Transportation for free.
I'm ready.
Clases gratis de computación. ¿Qué listos?
We're ready.
Come to Listos. If we can do it, you can do it.
What am I supposed to do with all these corks?
Turn them into a cork board.
What about all these floppy disks?
How about a fantastic journal?
I wouldn't learn how to make cool things like that.
Well, come on down to Scrap. Scrap has monthly workshops where you too can learn how to make great things. We provide everything you need. For more information, call 503-294-0769 or go to www.scrapaction.org. Scrap. Create more, consume less.
We're back, and with me now on Community Hotline is a regular guest who has now become practically my co-host here. This is Tim Park. He is the Sandy Actors Theater and the Readers Theater Gresham. Thanks for being on again, Tim.
Thank you.
It's always fun having you because you Well, as an actor, you have such great skills
presence,
and
yes,
presence,
just
yes,
amazing, isn't it?
yeah, but also you have such fun shows that you're involved in. I love hearing about them. So, are we going to talk tonight about the Sandy Actors Theater or the Readers Theater Gresham?
We're going to talk about both.
Well,
but
okay,
we'll
then.
start with Sandy Actors Theater because right now we just opened our show this past weekend, and it's a very funny, enjoyable, light, bright comedy, which I happen to be pretty prejudiced about because I'm also the director.
Well, oh my, yes. Well, it better be good then, right?
Well, I hope so.
Yes. So you're directing A Barrel Full of Pennies.
Yes.
So who's this play by?
It's by John Patrick. He's not all that well known anymore.
You've done quite a few of his, so haven't you?
This is last year we did Curious Savage, which was by him. And that's the first time I was really introduced to him, and I really liked the whole show. Very funny characters, great laugh lines, quirky situations, and then a lot of heart underneath to the whole show. And I find that each one of his plays are like that. And then it happened that Nuts and Bolts Theater did a show by him in the fall called A Bad Year for Tomatoes. Oh, yes. And then we're doing A Barrel Full of Pennies right now, and then we will be doing a Readers Theater by him in May called The Hasty Heart.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, yeah, and he is a Pulitzer Prize winning playwright. He wrote mostly from like 1945 to 1970. His most famous play was called The Tea House of the August Moon.
I'm sure he would be very honored to know that you're doing all these plays of his.
It wasn't really planned that way, but he's become sort of the playwright of the hour for us.
Good. Well, so tell me about A Barrel Full of Pennies. What's the premise of that?
It's about a quirky family that takes in anyone and everything that has a need. Their last name is Samaritan for obvious reasons.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
And are we talking not just
And we're not
humans?
just people, no. They take in animals and birds and canaries and pigeons, dogs. And it's been quite an interesting show to put together because we actually have 5 dogs.
Oh, really?
In the play.
You use live dogs?
We do.
Oh, my. You have an animal trainer?
No, I have a production manager that's just about pulled out her hair trying to get up.
I can't even imagine.
But she's got some really, really well-behaved, great dogs. I'm just really pleased with.
Good. That sounds like fun.
We have one that's absolutely adorable. It's a black Chihuahua. You know, about this big.
Little thing.
That he gets carried around, and he just behaves amazingly.
Are you going to take him home with you after?
I'd like to tell him to sit on the couch, and he'll just sit there with his paws right in front of him like this for a half hour or so, just waiting. You know, and
yeah, that would be tough. Have you ever worked with animals before?
No, but I got to tell you his name. What? I mean, this is a little Chihuahua.
Right.
His name is Brutus. So
that's perfect, Brutus. Yeah. You know, killer or, you know, something scary like that.
It's certainly been an extra challenge.
Yeah, I bet.
This place. They're not in the play a whole lot because the play is, you know, a story about people.
Right.
They certainly add a lot of interest to it.
You don't have birds, do you?
We don't have live birds. We did concede to that
much.
Because of taking care of them might be a little bit
it would be
difficult. But the story is about Adonis Samaritan is the father,
Adonis
and it's his heart that rules the show because he takes in anyone and anything, and they have 2 house guests. One of them has been there for 7 or 8 years, called Cousin Lou.
That's not a guest.
Yes. Well, that's not the worst of it yet. And Adonis is a taxi driver, and he was taking her to go to the welfare office, and eventually just brought her home rather than taking her there, and she's stayed ever since. And she doesn't say much during the play, but the actress that does this is just wonderful because she's always with it, always aware of what's going on, and very much involved in the action, and her expressions are hilarious.
That's great.
Without having to do much of anything.
That's a good actor.
And then the other house guest they have is Uncle Nemo, who has been there for 30 years.
Oh,
and Adonis actually accidentally hit him with his taxi 30 years before, and didn't know what to do with him, brought him home, and he's had amnesia ever since, and looks like he probably ought to be in an Alzheimer's ward, but they've taken care of him. Wow. And I won't give the...
You don't give everything away.
Yeah, what actually happens during the show. But the story centers around their daughter, Alicia, who, because their home is slightly strange, she somehow has not been able to bring anybody home.
Is she a teenager or a young adult?
A young adult, in her early 20s, and wants to bring her prospective boyfriend, and feels that she can't in the place that they live in.
Crazy house
so
of people.
All the conflict of trying to get this worked out so they can bring her supposed boyfriend home, and preparing the house. And in the meantime, Adonis goes out in his taxi, and another character walks in front of his taxi, and he almost hits him, and the guy holds him up with a water pistol, and they get into a fight. He knocks him out and thinks he's killed him, so he brings him home.
Oh, jeez.
And this is a very dysfunctional, suicidal folk singer.
Oh, great characters, huh?
Yeah, from the 60s, who ends up falling in love with the daughter, Alicia.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
That happen. It's been compared to a very well-known play, You Can't Take It With You, which is a similar storyline, a lot more characters. This is like a small cast. You Can't Take It With You. It's very, very funny. The characters are wonderful, and I have to say the cast is wonderful.
Are they great?
I'm very, very pleased with.
Do you cast them?
I'm the one that casts them, but at the same time, it's who is willing to do it and able to do it, and who shows up for auditions.
Because this is not a paid gig, is it?
Not really.
I mean, these are people that do this for the love of acting. So, what's your biggest challenge in directing a play like this, or any play? What's the hardest thing about directing? Having never done that, I can't imagine.
Well, I have a lot of creative juices that I come naturally, so that part's fun. It's knowing where to draw the line about letting the actors do their part and me do mine. You know? And
but you
to allow freedom
want to get on the stage
time.
and do it. You go, this is how you need to do it, or do you do that sometimes?
I try not to. Every once in a while, I've gone up there and just said, go here, and this is what to do.
This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's I think it's been a challenge to me, because I haven't done this for many, many years.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I haven't directed.
Well, you've acted in many,
in many shows. Yes.
So how many plays do you think you've directed?
In the past?
Lots and lots.
.00. No. No, I've done 2 in the past.
Oh, really? So this is still fairly...
Yeah, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of scary, huh?
I don't know that I'd call it scary. I was
exciting?
Looking forward.
Exciting?
Yeah, it was exciting, and it wasn't actually what I had planned for this year, but it sort of fell into my lap, and I'm glad it did.
Good, good. Well, it's nothing like challenging yourself a little bit, huh?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and but I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
So how's it going so far? How has the audience response been?
Well, there's lots of laughs.
Good, that's good. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, I put it. Let's see, in the program. Of course, I write a short little thing from the director. And I said, it reminds me of when I was growing up, which is a long time ago. But you might, no.
Yes, I would probably remember, Tim, yes.
But the comedies, the sitcoms of the 60s, which were classic for me.
My time.
And early 70s. Like Dick Van Dyke and Leave It to Beaver and Andy Griffith and things, It's almost, I've been amazed at some of the audiences, because it's almost like we have this laugh track going.
Really? Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all spontaneous.
But
it all
right
just happens.
It should be,
yeah,
right?
and they laugh and they stop. And,
you're doing something right. You're doing something right then. Well, tell us what else is going on now. There's a I have a note here that something about Enchanted April.
Yeah, I should, let me give the dates.
Oh, I'm sorry, Yeah, and we will put them on the screen too, I believe.
Okay, are we going to show any of the photos?
You know what, let's do that. Thank you, because I was going to forget. We do have a few photos from A Barrel Full of Pennies, so if we can take a look at those now. Thank you, Tim. See, I told you you're just like a co-host. Okay, what are we looking at here?
Okay, this is the family. This is Adonis is right in the center, played by Jim Bumgardner. And if you look closely, that's Brutus in the little blanket that he's just rescued.
Oh, how cute.
And on the right is Mina, the mother, played by Mickey Lipsy. This is a Jewish Christian Armenian family in Brooklyn. And she has a wonderful accent. She has some of the best lines in the whole play, too. And she's a great actress. In between them is Alvin, the dysfunctional folk singer, who's played by Steve Freed. And he's got some great comic timing. And he also, amazingly, actually can sing pretty well.
Oh, cool.
And on the left there is Alicia, played by Amanda Mell. And like I said, a lot of the play sort of centers around what's going on with her. She's very strong. You know, as an actor, I really have appreciated her. And in the back is Uncle Nemo, who's played by Dan Bosserman, who is a local celebrity who writes in the East County Gazette and has been but he had the ultimate commitment for this show because he actually had to lose his hair. So he actually shaved his head.
Good for him. Good for him. Hope it grows back.
Okay, and this is Mina, Mickey Lipsy with Brutus,
so cute.
And Alvin looking on in the background when they just. Let's see, Alvin has left his dog outside, tied to a dogwood tree because the dog likes flowers. And okay, this is at the other end of the play, and Alvin realizes, you know, that as much as he really thought he had found a home, you know, he's just too much for everybody to adjust to. And so he's reluctantly saying goodbye. It doesn't end that way, I'll tell you. And this is Adonis with another one of our dogs, Delilah. And like I said, they're all great dogs that do just what they are needed to do. And
that Jim Bumgardner, he was on the show, wasn't he? Didn't he come on one time and do a performance here?
I don't think so.
Am I mixing him up with something else?
Yet.
I've seen him in something.
Yeah, he's been in a number of shows.
Yeah, I've seen him in something. Well, you know what? We've talked so much. We're almost out of time. So let's talk about this other stuff so that we have the.
And this Monday night we have our next Readers Theater.
Okay.
Which is Enchanted April, which is directed by Jane Fellows, who's a pretty well-known actor in the Portland area. She's right now doing On Golden Pond at Lakewood Theater in Lake Oswego with Tobias Anderson. But we're pleased to have her directing this. And this is a play that actually was taken from the movie, which came out in the 90s. From a novel that was written back in the 20s about four women going to
I saw
Italy.
The movie, actually.
Yes.
I haven't seen the play, but I've seen the movie. And
it's a great adaptation of the play.
Yeah.
I mean, of the movie. So it's really
wonderful. And that's at the Gresham Chapel.
That'll be April 16th, this Monday night at 7 o'clock at the Gresham Chapel and Evening Events Center.
Yes. One time only.
$8, one time only.
Okay. And before we run out of time, tell me about The Hasty Heart.
Well, that is our following Readers Theater in May, which is May 21st, which will also be just a one-time show. And we are also doing Rabbit Hole, which is a Pulitzer Prize-winning play about a family who goes through a tragedy and the way they learn to adjust and support each other. A classic in modern theater, which is going to be at Sandy Actors Theater, and Justin Lazenby is directing that, and Kelly Lazenby is the lead in that.
And that's in June.
And that's in June.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I can't believe we used up all that time so quickly, Tim. I know. Well, if you just wouldn't
talk so darn much. Okay, did you get the dates, though?
We got the dates, and we'll have them up on the screen, and if people want more information, they can go to the website, right? SandyActorsTheater.org.
SandyActorsTheater.org.
Okay, and we'll have that up on the screen. Thank you, Tim.
Okay.
You just have to be on again and tell me more, I guess.
I'm sure I will be. Okay.
Thanks so much for watching, and do go to the website, SandyActorsTheater.org. They have a terrific company, and you're not going to want to miss these. I'm making plans to go see A Barrel Full of Pennies myself. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to be talking with Parkinson's Resources of Oregon.
Many people are aware of the problems of hunger and poverty, but few realize how severe these issues are in East County. Every winter we find hungry and homeless people on our streets. Here at SNOCAP, we combat these problems by bringing together the people who have with those who have not. SNOCAP is a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving the needs of low-income persons living in the East Metro area. With the help of community members and the support of local businesses, SNOCAP feeds over 4,000 people per month and distributes clothing to more than 1,000 people per month. You can help SNOCAP by donating your time, donating food or clothing, or making a financial contribution. To find out more, contact SNOCAP at 503-674-8785 or on the web at www.snowcap.org.
Volunteers are the cornerstone of local communities, and they enjoy the satisfaction that comes from being part of something larger than themselves. Multnomah County invites citizens to participate in projects that benefit the greater good of our residents.
Help provide services to thousands of your neighbors. Sound impossible? 1,700 members of your community are already doing this, and so much more, by volunteering with Multnomah County Library.
Library volunteers help their neighbors by teaching computer skills, shelving materials, and promoting literacy in the community. The library provides a wide array of services, including lending popular books and DVDs, computer access, and life-enriching activities.
Give a neighbor a helping hand and spend a couple hours a week at the library, making your community a better place.
To find out more about this volunteer opportunity, visit their website. To explore other volunteer opportunities, contact the Office of Citizen Involvement. Shape your community.
Vienna Star was my guardian angel when my life was in shambles. They helped me find counseling and shelter.
Vienna Star is great. They helped us pay our utility bills.
And find health resources.
I'm in college now because Vienna Star helped me find scholarships so I could put myself through school.
Call 503-823-4000 to find out if Vienna Star can help you.
Gracias, Vienna Star.
This is the story about a group of kids who volunteered.
Doing something nice for someone. We fixed stuff. Did some art projects with the kids.
We fixed up his house.
We worked in the woods.
Cleaned up the park.
Did something for the planet.
We just did it.
No other reason. And you know what? It was great.
At first, they didn't know each other.
Well, that didn't last long.
This guy is really funny.
Me? These are my new friends.
Are you into it?
Call 4-H or check out our website at areyouintoit.com.
When disaster strikes, emergency professionals may be overwhelmed. Can you care for yourself and loved ones until help arrives? Can you help neighbors amidst the chaos? Are you ready? Get ready. Join a community emergency response team and learn skills that will save lives. The City of Gresham offers free CERT training. Sign up for the next class and get ready.
What is it like to have a loved one die? Each month, over 300 children and teens who have experienced a death turn to the Dougie Center for Grieving Children. Inside, they find a safe place where they can share their experiences and move through the grieving process.
The programs at the Dougie Center are funded by private donations. Thank you for making it possible for kids like me to attend groups free of charge.
The Dougie Center, because grief comes in all sizes.
Hi, we're back. This is Monica Weitzel on Community Hotline at MetroEast Community Media. And with me tonight I have Holly Chamov, who is the Executive Director of Parkinson's Resources of Oregon. Thanks for being here, Holly.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm very happy to have you here. Now, Parkinson's Resources of Oregon, what aspect of Parkinson's do you focus on there? Is it research? Is it support? Is it, what do you do?
It's an excellent question. So we actually take up where the medical community leaves off.
Okay.
So if you were a person with Parkinson's disease, we very much would want to be reinforcing your relationship with your neurologist or your physician.
Okay.
And we don't do research, but we're all about everything else that happens with Parkinson's disease.
And there's a lot.
And there is a lot.
Yeah.
And it's really about helping our clients and their families maximize their quality of life while living with chronic disease.
Right, and it's a tough disease. It's a tough disease. It's a hard one to live with. So I know a lot of people know what Parkinson's is, maybe from some of the famous people that have it, like Michael J. Fox or Brian Grant, especially us Portland Trailblazer fans, but it affects people at different ages, it affects people in different ways and in different progressions. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but
it's an irony of the disease, is as you get worse, you're progressing.
So
it would be nice if there were a different way to say that.
So what kinds of things do you do to help the families and the people who have Parkinson's?
So we are, we started as an organization as a support group, so peer-led groups, and we coordinate about 65 support groups throughout Oregon that are people who have an interest in Parkinson's because either they have it or a family member, and we provide training and administrative support so that there's opportunities for a really safe and confidential way to talk to someone else and gain that experience. And those groups meet monthly for the most part throughout the state. We run a helpline, so we get folks that call us and talk to any one of our staff or volunteers if they want a referral for a neurologist or they need an exercise program. Maybe they're concerned about long-term care and where's the money going to come from. So we can help them find those resources back into the community.
That's reassuring.
It is. And we take over 100 calls a month on our helpline.
Wow.
And really, it is, people are always surprised that when they call us, there's not a clock that starts ticking when we answer the phone. That is one of the things in our office. If someone's live on the phone, you are undivided.
You take as much time as you need to deal with that.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, now how are you supported then? How does the Parkinson's Resource Group get its funding? Or is that it?
So we are all privately funded.
You are, okay.
And so we do 2 fundraisers a year in the spring and in the fall. We have our gala coming up, Celebrate Hope, in May, and then in the fall we do a series of awareness walks, and that accounts for about 2/3 of our budget, and then individual gifts is the balance.
So the gala that's coming up, that's Friday, May 18th at the Convention Center.
Yeah.
What can people expect at that?
So this is our 3rd year with the gala, and it's a cocktail hour with a silent auction. There's some amazing things this year in the auction, and then a seated dinner and a live auction.
Nice.
And we are pretty much done around 9:30.
Okay.
So it's a nice evening.
If people are interested, they can go to your website and get information on that?
Right. They can go to our website, parkinsonsresources.org, or to the gala site directly, which is progala.org. PRO Gala.
Parkinson's Resources.
Exactly.
Okay. And I want to talk, we have a video we want to show, and I don't want to forget that, but the walks that you do, did you used to do just one a year, and now it's several?
This is going to be our 8th year, and we started with just one.
Because I went on the Parkinson's walk with my daughter one year, it was along the waterfront down in Southwest.
On the Willamette Park,
yeah. It was really nice. And unfortunately, it seemed to always coincide with another walk that we do for another organization. But if you have several of them now, that I could do that again.
Yeah, so we have Portland, Vancouver, Eugene, and Medford this year.
Okay.
And you're right, there are so few windows of good weather in
There
Portland
are.
that everyone walks the same day.
I know, it's true, it's true. So the one in Portland, do you know when that's going to be?
I want to say it's September 23rd.
Okay, well that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's right around my birthday. I could celebrate by going
There you
on a
go.
walk.
There you
Okay,
go.
you know, you did provide us with a video, and we're not going to show the whole thing, but we're going to show a little bit of it.
Good.
Kind of gives a kind of good idea about what Parkinson's is all about. So maybe we can take a look at that now.
Thank you.
Sure.
Parkinson's it's a really complex disease, and it's different for every family. Our job is to help families continue doing what they want to do, continue pursuing their dreams.
Parkinson's slowly takes certain things away from you. Is you don't get to decide whether you're going through a divorce. You don't get to decide whether one of your kids is messed up. You don't get to decide whether your dog just, all that other stuff still happens. But you still have to deal with the fact that you have Parkinson's too.
I bawled like a baby and went to bed for about a week and then decided, well, are you gonna get up and live the rest of your life or you're gonna lay here? I got up.
Shock and disbelief. I mean, it was kind of a very surreal moment. I mean, I was like, my dad was diagnosed 7 months before I was. I was drafted by the Colorado Rockies. I played catcher for most of my big league career and my minor league career.
I have been humbled by this experience. I mean, I had to match kind of where I saw my life going versus where his life was going versus where I wanted us to go.
We certainly are working with more and more young people with Parkinson's, folks who have young children, teenage children, still in the workforce. It is more difficult when you're working with someone whose life situation so closely mirrors yours.
The fear came and is that I don't want to tell anybody at work. My fear is that with the current economic conditions the way they are, it would give my employer just a reason to end my employment. It's a secret that I'm hanging on to.
People hide this disease. Young people especially don't let other folks know what's going on. They'll try to subtly hide the symptoms to the point where the whole world knows.
You called the helpline at Pro, and Holly called me at Pro and said, can you go out with Lori and get together?
I just remember getting somebody on the line and just bursting out crying.
And it was like a lifesaver for me because life was really busy and I was really struggling.
It's just been such a blessing to, have you guys in my life, and I feel like it's just the beginning.
I sometimes know that we may not know each other ever in real life, but you're there when we need you.
Our get-together is a time where we can have our feelings and emotions be the center of attention.
This looks really good.
Yeah, drink. I really needed to get together with you guys. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Life is trial by fire.
You rule Parkinson's, Don't stop doing the things that you're doing.
And love's the sweetest taste.
I'm going to embrace this. Hang on, we're going for a nickel ride.
And I pray it lifts us higher.
Eventually I'd like to have a cure for Parkinson's, but let's just worry about tomorrow first.
One safe place, yeah.
Don't do it alone. Try to get out there and meet people.
You get up every day.
I have been humbled by this experience.
And just try to be a dad and try to be a husband and try to be a good person.
Our purpose is far more than just us and our life.
Oh, I'm so grateful for getting up in the morning, having another whole day.
I'm grateful for being here right now, taking
Still have
a
a lot
breath.
to give, and they don't need to isolate themselves.
Keep smiling.
Laugh.
I have a great life. I'm dad with the shaky hand. Parkinson's, that's what it is when your hand shakes, right? Yeah.
I mean, what happens tomorrow? What's the next adventure?
They're really awesome people. They're living with a long-term disease
gracefully.
I'm grateful just to be alive.
I could be dead, but I'm alive, man. I'm alive, I'm here, and I'm breathing.
Across sand and sky and gravel. looking for one safe place. Yeah. Hey.
Wow, that was pretty powerful, Holly.
Yeah.
And I know, I told you my mother has Parkinson's, and she is my hero. And you know, seeing her struggle with it is really hard. And so I'm really grateful that, you know, somebody like you and that Parkinson's Resources of Oregon is there. I recently got a kit from yes, and that's great. It was and Mom just recently got out of the hospital. I wish I'd gotten a little sooner, but it's you have some great resources, and I'm just starting to find out about them. So I'm hoping that other people who have family members who have Parkinson's or who have it themselves will, you know, avail themselves of your website. Start there and find out everything you have to offer. One of the things that I heard about was the wellness classes. What can you tell me about that?
So one of the things that happens with Parkinson's, as the disease progresses, it's harder and harder for people to get out into the community.
Yes.
And some of the symptoms are sometimes embarrassing for people, so they tend to become very isolated. And
like that person who said when you were talking about how they try to hide it till pretty soon everybody knows.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, hands in the pocket, holding your wrist to keep the tremor from people noticing. But with our wellness classes, we started with just exercise classes 10 years ago that were just for people with Parkinson's. And what we discovered was that if you felt safe in that environment, then people were coming out and participating and getting exercise that they weren't otherwise getting. And those exercise classes almost became their own little support groups. They became families for people over time. Now, luckily in our community, there are exercise classes, many, many more than just the ones we offer that are specific for people with Parkinson's. And so we refer people to whatever is most convenient in their community.
That's great.
And then I do want to mention also here on the east side at Russellville, we have a group called the Tremble Clefs, which is a choir.
The Tremble Clefs.
The Tremble Clefs.
That's cute.
And it's a singing group for folks because the vocal ability gets impacted many times with Parkinson's. And singing is a great way to exercise and to keep the voice strong. And we work with music therapists and music therapy interns to run this program with us.
You know, Parkinson's is a funny disease. I know my mother sometimes has trouble speaking, but she can read just fine. I mean, read out loud.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, sometimes she can't talk very well, but she'll read something. Parkinson's Resources of Oregon. And, you know, it's a funny thing.
It is a funny thing, and I really wish I understood what was going on in the brain.
Yeah.
Why sometimes it works to take a step, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes you freeze up. Sometimes you just get up and go.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a very baffling disease and very frustrating, but it's good to know that there's help there. So you said the east side, so there's 2 locations.
So our main office right now is in Lake Oswego. Is where our staff works out of, although we've just opened an office in Eugene just a month ago. So we now have a social worker working out of our office in Eugene for people.
Oh, good.
And then also this winter we started an East Side outreach program, and so we're out at Lambert House, which is at 170th and Division. So our social worker is out at Lambert House several times a month, seeing clients on the east side as well, trying to help people access what we do in their own communities.
Great, that's great. Now what else, we only have like a minute left, so what else do we need to know about Parkinson's Resources of Oregon?
That we are always going to be there for people.
I like that.
You know, it's easier, you asked what do we do, I find it's easier sometimes to say what we don't do. What we don't do. We don't do clinical care and we don't do research. We support both of those, and we support both of those avidly. But we need to take you and your mom, and we're just, you know, you brought her up, you know, what are those needs in your family, and then help you and your family really address those needs and come to some good solutions for you.
How great to know that you're there for us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly, for being on tonight. If you're interested in finding out more about Parkinson's Resources of Oregon, about going to the gala, about the wellness classes, anything that we've talked about tonight or more, please go to their website and check it out. I appreciate you joining us tonight. My name is Monica Weitzel. You're watching Community Hotline. We'll see you next week.